come into a collective to demand these things, then can you really blame these individuals for doing what they do?
You are raising the question of where to begin actually.
And where would you begin?
No.
Where would you begin?
Okay, I would begin with general public,
okay.
whether it is X, Y or Z. Because I think public also are so passive. They are expecting politicians to change. Whenever you debate with the public will also say, why are you telling us? We tell the politicians without them doing anything. So you can't do that in my view. Now look at, okay, now you gave the example of electoral change. You think people are, okay, elected politicians are, elected politicians are responsive at an election. But the electoral process lacks integrity, then there is a problem whether it can be raised. Look at, on the other hand, look at the biggest scandals in the recent time. Was it the politicians or the public servants involved in that? Or both? I think, don't misunderstand the Sri Lankan financial scheme. No politician can approve a cent. It's only the public servant on holding a position has to approve. Therefore, if a politician is doing that, they still have a space, in my view. There are people.
Unless,
there
of
are
course,
courageous
appointed
people.
By the particular politician.
Of course, still, somebody has to approve. And the approval will come, signature will come, not of a minister, not of the cabinet, but of a public servant.
Now you're doing, I mean, I know that you're doing a number of campaigns as Transparency International to actually raise awareness. You last year had the Integrity Awards, and I believe this year you're having a cartoon competition as well. Could you tell us more about that?
Yeah, okay. Now take that example. There are enough and more people with integrity, and they have brought in integrity. That is why we are still surviving as a country.
So integrity, that particular
individual's integrity
initiative celebrates integrity?
Yes, that's basically encourage people to act with integrity so that we will recognize them. It's a National Integrity Awards.
Okay.
And we had it for the fourth time. Now this is fifth time, where an independent panel of judges will evaluate the contributions of individuals who have fought corruption with in these difficult circumstances. So the whole idea is to encourage people to fight corruption rather than go along with corruption and be benefited.
But the idea of that particular initiative is to actually flag and highlight these people who have,
of course, yes.
fought combated. Yes. Compared to the cartoon competition,
the cartoon competition is, that is basically get a wider section of people to get involved with anti-corruption activity. Now last year what we did was we had a competition to draft a national pledge against corruption. So their participation was very high, thousands of participation.
And in all three languages?
In all three languages, and the final 10 got together with the panel of judges and evolved one single pledge.
And that pledge was for all citizens?
All citizens.
All citizens.
It's all citizens, wherever you can.
In fact, can one access that pledge?
Of course,
now?
you can go into our website. Right. You can subscribe to that. I know that some of the institutions are doing it. They have informed us.
Right. Yeah.
And if you go into our website, www.tisrilanka.org, you can also subscribe to that pledge.
And do you have a list? Do you actually then highlight the organizations or individuals who have subscribed?
Well, we will be soon putting it, and actually we are doing it at the moment. It might take time, but we are putting that also in order. So now similarly, this time we thought cartoon is another way of expressions, and that might be finally ending up with lot of expressions on corruption and images of corruption, so to say.
Right.
And that will be.
Well, I mean, you've obviously done a lot of campaigns, both with the visual media, with the arts, with electronic media. In your mind, what has worked the best thus far?
Well, I think the response from the higher public service.
And why?
Well, I think they were waiting for an opportunity.
Yeah.
Because they were waiting for an opportunity to respond to learn this and to change, and that is one. And secondly, I think we had opportunities to bring in or mainstream the anti-corruption struggle in the country. That's why I started by saying that previously it was limited to politicians' jargon, but it is not so. Now people do discuss about bigger issues than the political corruption. I'm not saying political corruption is less important, but I'm saying is that to fight corruption, you have to go beyond fighting corruption.
And that, I end this series with a personal question. I mean, you are dealing with almost insurmountable odds here.
Sure.
You're dealing with a political architecture that is corrupt. You're dealing with institutions that have been severely debilitated on account of corrupt practices. You're dealing with nepotism, favoritism. Almost every aspect of polity and society in Sri Lanka has a rather high dimension of corruption, including the judiciary and the law and order situation in the country. I know a survey that was done a couple of years ago by the Center for Policy Alternatives identified the police as, in terms of perception, the most corrupt in the country. Now, sadly, corruption is regarded as inevitable, and our children grew up into this. I mean, where do you, as an individual heading Transparency International, yes, but also as an individual active in anti-corruption, what is your hope? What drives you in this? What is your hope for combating corruption?
Well, if you give me only one chance, probably I would look at children, because we adults have failed. I mean, we have not left a country that the children will be happy with. So I think the children is probably the only sure hope before they grow old. Now, how do you tap children? I mean, anybody's question whether the public institutions in the country in charge of education is ready to do that, whether parents are ready to do that, whether teachers are ready to do that is a question. But I think those are challenges. I mean, if we cannot find answers to challenges, we will fail. And pending that, I suppose we have to have a multi-pronged approach. And I would say that if you fighting corruption cannot be done by one individual or one organization or one way. There are no prescribed forms or formulas to fight corruption. But in almost all the countries which have managed corruption, let me use that word, manage corruption or minimize corruption, they have done one thing successfully, that's public awareness.
And public awareness through children, you feel in Sri Lanka?
All sectors.
All sectors. And I know that Transparency International has done work with children.
Yes, we did.
In particular. Final question, in all the integrity awards, the cartoon competition winners, the children who participated, do you actually go back to those who won and those who were recognized for combating corruption, ask them, what is life for them 2-3 years after they've won an award? Do you do that?
Yes, in fact we know.
And what has the response has been?
I mean, they are quite fascinating. And some people are looking up to them.
Right.
And I'm so happy to say that some of the people who are recognized, and they are virtually leading in their own way anti-corruption struggles. I mean, they did not, the only thing they did not have is the recognition. They have been doing what they are doing. And one thing, in this country, we have some hope. Hope because we still have some people with integrity. And if we don't have hopes in fighting corruption, we might as well close the shop. I think Sri Lanka still have hopes. That is why I'm pleading with the people. You have hope, you have a better hope for the future, but you have to do your bit. Fight corruption.
And is that your wellspring of hope as well?
That's my hope.
Mr. Weliamuna, I think on that note of optimism, which is so rare to hear and so welcome to hear when you're talking about this issue, I believe we'll draw our program to a close. Thank you very much for joining us today. Thank you. Okay.